Secretary Rubio and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz heading to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia this week. They expect to meet with Zelensky's top National Security Advisor, foreign and defense ministers. I mean, this is where the rubber's going to start to meet the road around this negotiating table. Do you think we see anything come out of it?
Oh, I think we will. American leadership is not going to be relenting here. We're not going to go backwards. President Zelensky kind of stuttered. He kind of was probing and testing President Trump with the events of the last 2 weeks. But the military realities on the ground are what they are. And the Kursk events militarily are certainly ones that we should watch because they're going to have to retreat. They're going to have to pull from Kursk because they're just overwhelmed with force. At the same time, there's going to be a lot more in the press that President Trump caused this because of the pause in aid, the pause in intel. No, that's just nonsense. There's intel sharing from UK, other NATO allies, and you don't just lose all your supplies overnight when we pause. What President Trump is doing is asserting himself, saying the killing will stop, and we're going to get to the table, and we're going to have a conclusion. And President Zelensky and Macron and Starmer from the UK, please listen up, because the United States is very firm in its position, and we're going to see this thing through to its end. And it's not out of love for Russia either. They're going to be tough to get to the table.
Yeah, and Fred, as we just heard Shelby mention in her report, Trump paused military aid to Ukraine, followed shortly by suspension of intelligence sharing. But just yesterday, as she said, Trump said the U.S. has just about lifted the intelligence pause. Pennsylvania Republican Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick also addressed the issue on CBS yesterday. Take a listen to what he had to say.
I know you feel very strongly about supporting Ukraine in its fight against Russia. Ben Hodges, who's a retired general who commanded U.S. Army Europe, said he's having a hard time understanding how withholding intelligence and military support from Ukraine advances strategic interests or helps make America great.
So what I suspect is happening here, and I could be proven wrong, is that this is an escalate to de-escalate tactic by the administration to bring these parties to the table and to come to a conclusion, a just conclusion, which means success and victory for Ukraine. And I want to emphasize that. And I get asked, well, what does that mean?
Yep.
What victory means for me is Vladimir Putin regrets his decision to invade Ukraine.
Fred, do you agree with the congressman there? What do you think?
Well, I think Trump put incredible pressure on Zelensky to get him to support Trump's objective of getting an immediate ceasefire, and I think that succeeded. It's time to turn back on the intelligence sharing, the military aid. The problem now is Russia. Russia is increasing its attacks on Ukraine despite Trump's peace efforts. There has to be maximum pressure against Russia right now to stop this war. Zelensky's people have to be reminded during the Saudi Arabia meetings that they have to stay on board. The problem now is Russia, and I think Trump's going to have to turn to that and also deliver a message to Putin that Trump is his only chance to stop this war. There'll be no other official on the political scene in the near future who will give Russia any opportunity to stop this war. There's a brief window in time that Putin can do this. Trump has to urge him to take advantage of it.
Got to get him around the table. So, General, I want to switch gears right now and ask about a tweet that we saw come out just about an hour or so ago from Secretary Marco Rubio saying we are officially canceling 83% of the programs at USAID. 5,200 contracts that are now canceled spent tens of billions of dollars in ways that did not serve the core national interest of the United States. Thank you, Doge. I mean, he's taking basically what's left, the remaining 17, 18%, moving it into the State Department. Isn't this how this is supposed to work?
It is, and it doesn't sound like Secretary Rubio and Elon Musk are having too big a problem with their horrid relationship. You know, this is great for the American people because it's clear to all now, and it should be clear to all, USAID is hardly being used under the auspices of which their charter was supposed to be fashioned. And what we need to do now is it's not just enough to go recoup the money. It's now very, very important to get the accountability. And that means criminal investigations into how the money was used, the corruption, kickbacks, illicit use of the monies to other agendas that are off book that were never approved by at the presidential level. So we need to route those things out and go right to the hard places, the so-called protected class that never has to seemingly face a subpoena or a criminal investigation. It's time to go to that place because that's what's going to keep our nation safe.